Tangents. The word alone scared GCSE students. But after this video, you will never get this question wrong again. So what we are looking at is how to find the rate at a particular point using a tangent. I want you to use this exact method because it will help you to achieve all 5 marks on this type of question. For example, the question might ask you, find the rate of a reaction at third minute. They will give you a graph like this and literally ask you to find the rate at third minute. So here is how we do it. Draw a tangent using a ruler and a straight line. Make sure that the line touches the curve at that point you are interested in, which is, in this example, is third minute. Draw a vertical line up from the 3 minute and mark that point on the curve. Then draw a tangent so that it touches the curve at that point. Now choose 2 points where you can draw a right angle triangle. For example, I might choose this point and this point. Now, how long should the triangle be? There is no particular rule for that. However, make sure your triangle is not very small. Don't draw a tiny triangle like this because your answer might not be close to the true value. Instead, draw a triangle like I have shown you here. That gives you an answer which is much closer to the true value. Work out the change in y. This is another tricky point where students get confused. To find the change in y, extend the line from the triangle across to the y-axis. Now, you need to know the value of one square on the graph. How to do this? Simply look at the scale. For example, from 0 to 0.5, there are 5 small squares. So 0.5 divided by 5 gives you the value which is 0.1. This means each small square represents 0.1. Now count the number of squares between the 2 points you are interested in. In this example, there are 6 squares. So 0.1 times 6 gives you 0.6. Therefore, change in y is 0.6. Substitute this value into the formula. Work out the change in x now. You find the change in x exactly in the same way. Look at the x-axis scale. For example, from 0 to 1 minute, there are 5 small squares. So 1 divided by 5 equals 0.2 seconds. Therefore, each small square represents 0.2 minutes. Okay, so now count how many squares are between 2 points on the triangle. In this example, there are 17 squares. So I will just times 0.2 with 17 giving 3.4. Therefore, the change in x is 3.4. Substitute the values into the formula, then calculate rate equals change in y over change in x. And that's your answer. So if you know this trick, you can actually work out these questions very easily. Now let's look at the other question they commonly ask. Which is mean rate of reaction. This is different. If they ask you to find the mean rate, do not draw tangent at all. That's the first thing to remember. Instead, draw a line from the start of the reaction to the point where the graph becomes flat or plateaus. So you can see on this graph that the line becomes flat approximately at 50 seconds. At this point, the reaction has finished. Look across and see how much gas has been produced until that point. In this example, it is 20 centimeter cube. Then use the formula mean rate equals gas produced over time and add the values in here. 20 centimeter cube divided by 50 seconds and calculate the answer. Now, one of the biggest mistakes students make is that they use the entire time shown on the graph. For example, they can go all the way to 60 seconds, which is wrong. Please be careful. The reaction has finished at 50 seconds where the graph flats. Finally, some examiner tips. Always include your units in the answer. Read the question carefully. Ask yourself, are they asking for the mean rate or are they asking for the rate at a particular fixed point? Because the method is different. Draw your tangents neatly using a ruler. Choose points on the tangent that are well spaced apart. Remember, bigger triangles generally give you closer to the answers, closer to the true value. Check your calculations carefully, include the correct units, and make sure you use appropriate number of significant figures. Please be careful about these points because this can make the difference between losing and gaining marks. Thank you very much. Do let me know if you have any other question on this part. Thank you.